What is up, guys? Welcome to another YouTube video. Simang Amakinjapa here. I'm a personal trainer and an online coach. Today, we're going to go over the deadlift, the barbell deadlift. We've gone over on the channel the RDL, which is a Romanian deadlift. Today, we're going to do a conventional deadlift. I'm going to show you guys how to perform it, what not to do, and then one or two improvements that I could maybe recommend to you guys from my own coaching experience and my own experience from doing it. Let's get into it. So when it comes to the barbell deadlift, guys, the conventional one at least, it's very simple. Especially because today I just put the weights on the ground like this. There's no actual rack. I can't necessarily show you guys how to unrack it and then put it on the ground. Basically, it's called a deadlift for a reason, because we're lifting dead weights off the ground and up into the air. This one is one of the most conventional, not conventional, what's the word I'm looking for? One of the most functional moves. And when I say functional, I mean functional in terms of there is carryover. When it comes to your daily life, you will have somewhere in your life you'll have to be in a position where you have to pick something heavy up off the ground without compromising your back, without compromising your biomechanics. So when we start with this one, we're going to walk up to the bar. And I once heard a cue from a coach that said, feel the steel. So I want you guys to feel the steel. What I mean by that is I want you guys to be right up and close towards the bar. I want you to actually feel the bar on your shins. So from there, you'll have your feet shoulder width apart. This is how I coach it. So I'd rather even have someone come down like this. So I'll tell them to hinge their hips. So move your butt back while having your back straight. Touch the bar. Deep breath, really squeeze the bar. That's the other thing. Some people, when they try this move, they're like holding it passively or whatever. But because you're going to be lifting a lot of weight potentially, and this is one of the exercises where most people can lift the most amount of weight and it makes sense, you want to actually make sure that everything is fully engaged when you're doing it. So I'm going to hinge my hips back, hinge the hips back, hold the bar, squeeze the bar. Deep breath into my abdomen, and then I'm going to tighten my back, tighten my lats. Make sure there's no more slack in the bar, and then hinge my hips forward when I'm lifting it up. So don't think of moving it up with your back, think of moving your hips forward to bring the bar up here. So I'm going to show you how it looks in real time. Okay, so I've hinged down there. Grab the bar, squeeze the bar, hips down slightly, feel the steel, deep breath into my abdomen, tighten my back, and then I drive my hips forward. Move my butt back again, deep breath, and I repeat the process. So the other thing with this move, guys, is when you're performing it, I want you to, again, think of you moving your hips back and forth throughout the movement. But again, this is not one of those moves where it's like a localized effect. And what I mean by that is you're not going to necessarily feel a huge pump in your hamstrings or your glutes, but you're going to feel them working, and you should feel them working a little bit more than your lower back. If you feel your lower back, it's okay, but there's a certain amount where it shouldn't just be your lower back. So your lower back erectors are going to be working, but just not as much as your hips and your glutes and your hamstrings. Okay, so it's not going to feel like a pumpy, like when you do a bicep curl, where it feels like the muscle just engorged with blood. You should feel your glutes and your hamstrings. Come a little bit closer. Again, so because I'm feeling the steel, and once I've done everything according to the checks, on my way down, make sure that the barbell is close to you. So don't let it do that as it comes down. Reason being is because that load is going to be shifted in front of you, that's going to demand even more from your lower back and your lower back erectors. So that's just extra work that you don't need to do. It's going to make the exercise less efficient and harder with no actual upside. Okay, so 3 more things before we wrap up the video. Number 1, make sure that your neck position, and this is not something I see often, but I have seen someone and worked with someone who struggled with this. When you're doing your deadlift, make sure that your neck is neutral. So you don't need to flex it, you don't need to extend your neck, you don't need to do anything. Your neck just needs to be neutral, and that's all. Number 2 is your feet or your shoes that you're wearing. Similar to a squat, but maybe not as important, but similarly, you also want to use flat shoes when you're deadlifting. Because if you're wearing shoes, maybe let's say running shoes, they're too foamy, they're too soft, you won't be as stable as you might like to be. And we already know from scientific literature that stability and force production have a directly proportional relationship. So that's number 2. Okay. Last one is, you'll see for some people might do an elevated deadlift where they might put plates underneath the deadlift, or the plates. It depends why a person is doing that, but there's no real wrong or right answer. But I'll see if I can add a video somewhere here of a client of mine who we did that with. But that for him was mainly because of his upper back was rounding a little bit, and also he was a taller individual, so he had more space to travel. He had to travel even lower to actually get the same kind of bar that someone who's a little bit shorter like myself doesn't have to struggle with. I'm not short, I'm just shorter than he is. Okay? So yeah, that is it, guys. Thank you for good luck. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video if you have not. I'll make more of these for you guys, and see you on the flip side.